In this video, I'm going to demonstrate using a LaTeX template from the Elsevier publisher. So in a search engine, I have typed Elsevier LaTeX template, searching for that. There's quite a long set of instructions here with different resources and some caveats or some pointers to specific journals within this publisher that have separate rules, and including some conferences that also are supported by this article class, and a package that's specifically tailored to a specific set of conferences. So conferences may have tech templates available. So the general Elsevier article class is available on CTAN. And it has a README, it has different BST files that come with it, and the documentation. We can download the contents of this into a zip archive. I'm going to pause while I unzip that. Okay, so now you see that I have this folder on my computer, and we're going to go through some of the files inside of this. So you'll notice that there are multiple tech documents that are included and multiple BST files. These correspond to different common citation styles, either numbered names, Harvard style. There's also a README file that comes with this. This is what the README declares. And it tells you what the purposes of the files inside contain. The documentation gives you examples using this. I'll also point out on the website for the publisher, there is a PDF for the Elsevier documentation. This is a very useful guide, which I'm going to just go ahead and download into that same folder. Actually, if you look at the file name, it is actually in the documentation. It's one of these actually, but I'm going to just stick it in there. It's related. All right, so here it says this is a class. There is a style file for the citations, for margins, etc., graphics. Here are some differences. How do you install it and use it? So document class, square brackets with optional arguments, curly brackets, ELS article class. The optional arguments, it tells you what they all are, how you can switch between 1 column, 3 column, or 3 P format, which is a 2-column format, etc. They talk about author year or numbered citations, sorting and compressing them, just a number of different really helpful formats. This is different than some of the other publishers that don't include all of that type of information. It gives some examples and it has quite a thorough documentation. Now I've opened up the ELS article template numnames.tech, and it has some information in the comments, but it gets pretty quickly to the document class because it has separate stylistic information in the ELS article class file. There shows some different options of how you might want to switch between the different arguments for the optional things. So you might want to look at preprint version or the final version, etc. Shows about some of the packages, turning on and off line numbers, putting in a journal name, the front matter, the author's information, research highlights and graphical abstract, which are relatively newer features, and the section, the labels, and it ends the document. It does show how you could use your bib file, or how you could do the manual, very tedious individual bib items format. If you run this, it doesn't know what my graphical abstract name is. That's why I get error messages. But it does run the main part of the document with whatever has been entered into this template. I'm going to show that one more time of the error message that came up, that this graphical abstract is undefined. And on my computer, I've been using a ELS article class that's outdated. So looking at the README, I found that actually this is the updated version that we just downloaded, and we should compile this. Okay, so I've opened a command prompt. I'm navigating to the location. All right, so I navigated to the right folder on my computer using a command window, and I typed, following the instructions here, LaTeX space elsarticle.ins, and it rendered that file for me, compiled it, and so now we do see the documentation file, and it should run now without error, so nothing red popped up. So now my computer is using the more up-to-date version of this. So that was a brief example looking at some of the differences in the in this kind of template from Elsevier, where there's kind of minimal, some guiding instructions in here, but the stylistic information is in the other files, actually in the macro, the other files that are provided, and then the documentation provides instructions as a separate PDF rather than being a guiding example document for this template.